following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly.
Hello, and welcome to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name is Ryan, and my favorite crafting supply is glitter.
And I'm Matthew, and my favorite crafting supply is construction paper.
Hell yeah. I'm here
Hell
for
yeah.
it. This...
Gotta get that good, stiff construction paper.
Gotta love a stiff construction paper. There's nothing better. This is a podcast, believe it or not, where we like to... Fuck you and your home improvement.
I'm so sorry. I would like to formally apologize.
This is a podcast where we like to have a fun drink and then try to be succinct about various topics. Matthew, what are you drinking tonight?
So I am, once again, here to say that I'm drinking a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Hell
Still
yeah.
haven't decided if it's an IPA or not. But that's just a question we'll never know the answer to. What was that segment called? Questions.
Things we'll never know.
Yeah, it's not, whatever that was. Call back. We're good at podcasting. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the last blackberry sage quirk that I have in my refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
I have other flavored quirks, but this is the last blackberry one, and it's my favorite of the pack, so it's going to take me a long time to finish the rest of them.
Yeah. My sister and I, well, when was that? Like last weekend, we tried quirk because I was like, Ryan likes these, let's get these. And we could not place what they tasted like, but they tasted familiar to us.
It's like what you want LaCroix to taste like, mixed with a White Claw.
Yeah, I think the sage was throwing me off because I felt like, what did I think it smelled like? It smelled like KFC or something. Like something that I was not expecting. I don't remember exactly what I thought it was, but it was something like that. And then I drank it and I was like, oh no, this is good. It just smelled weird.
What, did you just get the blackberry sage ones, or did you get like a mixed pack? Okay.
We just got the blackberry sage. We couldn't find a mixed pack. We just found like the 6 packs, and they had like the yuzu pear, the
which that
blackberry
one's really
sage,
good if
then,
you like citrus kicks.
Mm-hmm. Then there was a third one, but I don't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Probably like the strawberry lemon basil. I feel like those are like the main three that people like. I'm also really partial. They have like a lemonade hibiscus.
Ooh, that sounds delightful.
Pretty delicious. And then a blueberry lemon and lavender.
That one sounds like something I would fucks with.
Yeah. I'll try and get my hands on some of their berry and botanicals stuff for the next time we hang out.
Okay.
Because I honestly, like, I recommend them. As far as, like, I feel like they're the best tasting, like, seltzer that you can get.
What are you saying? They're better than Natty Light Seltzer?
Fuck, you're right. Natty Light Seltzer, that's God tier right there. Nothing better.
It's what they serve you in Valhalla.
Fucking Natty Light Seltzer. Speaking of seltzers, have you seen like the fall Budweiser line of seltzers?
No. Is it like pumpkin and like...
Okay, I remember three specifically, and the third one might honestly be pumpkin spice. So they have like a crisp apple, which doesn't sound bad. It actually sounds like something I would probably drink. And then they have like a pear cinnamon.
Ooh.
And then the ones that throw me off are like I think it is pumpkin spice the more I'm thinking about it. And then toasted marshmallow, which I've heard people describe saying it tastes like soap, and I believe that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
I also don't like mixing cream with alcohol. I don't think they go for... Like, I'm usually not a girl who likes to go for, like, Baileys, even. Like, it's just...
So...
It's, like, a weird heaviness.
So, and I also think, like, liquor curdles cream, doesn't it? Because, back in the times when I went to bars, one of my go-to drinks was an Irish car bomb. Don't get it, it's not safe drinking. But it's like... It's a shot of half Bailey's, half Jameson, and you drop it in a Guinness. And you gotta do it quick because it's gonna curdle.
Yeah.
And if it... Like, there's one time I was out with some people, and one of them got the Irish car bomb, and they were not drinking it quick, and it turned to cheese. But I was drunk enough to where I drank it anyway. But, drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly, folks. I think this might be our earliest dip into hydration station to remind people to drink responsibly.
A little... We're cruising by hydration station to where you can see it to know and drink responsibly, but we're not going to actually stop. Because it's about 8 minutes in. Oh, but yeah. Have you seen... PBR has a cold brew beer?
Okay, PBR coffee is actually good.
Okay, I've never actually had it. I've been afraid to try it.
It's surprisingly good.
That's the tagline. PBR cold brew, surprisingly good.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be an Irish car bomb at that point, but I feel like doing, like, a shot of Bailey's in it and then chugging it real quick would just get you real zooted real fast. No, but like the caffeine in it just keeps you and then like it's good. I recommend it.
I don't know that I recommend mixing caffeine with alcohol, but
you are talking to a girl who used to frequent a bar where their staple was Monster vodka.
We're not talking about Monster vodka.
We're
today,
not.
are we?
We're talking about like wholesome stuff, and we just went real quick with like. Remember when we were trash goblins with unhealthy drinking habits?
Yeah. Drink responsibly and do some hobbies. Which is what we're talking about today.
We are talking about hobbies. Matthew, what's your history with hobbies, I guess?
So my history with hobbies is a long and storied story dating back to my childhood, where I guess my first hobby was making movies. Because my parents had like a little camcorder, and when I was younger, I used to make like little movies with my Legos. Yeah. And I think my dad was my cameraman. I don't know that he wanted to, but he did it. Because there's... my earliest memory of making a movie is I made a movie called Wildfire with my Legos. And so I have recently seen it. In my head, it made sense and was a good movie. Having rewatched it, it made no sense. And it was bad. But like at a certain point I got this thing called the Digital Blue, which is like a camera, and it also came like very very like rudimentary editing software with like special effects. And like my friends and I would come over and we would make movies with it. and like it had like a stop motion function to where like it would take pictures instead of like filming, and I would use that to make movies with my Legos because I was a lonely boy. But but yeah, and then at some point that fell off, and then
kind of got picked up again in high school. I feel like you went really.
Did I?
Yeah,
I feel like
I think you won an award.
Well, okay, it wasn't a hobby at that point. It was just like a thing I did for a class at that point.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
Then I turned to music, which is an ongoing hobby. But now that we've gotten caught up on me, how's about you?
Wait, I do want to brag for just a second about Matthew's music. I love it. I love listening to it. You can't find it anywhere. It's real underground.
It's real underground. You gotta know the right person. That person's me.
But he does do all the music for the podcast. So the theme song, Hydration Station, the funky alien theme moment, all edited by that boy, and I'm so proud of him.
I will say, I shouldn't get all the credit for the theme song though, because it's based off a classical song. So it's like it was inspired by lo-fi because I was really into lo-fi when we started this, and I was like racking my brain to think of a theme song, and I was just sitting there listening to the lo-fi, and it was like, oh, epiphany. But yeah, I don't know. I'm okay at music. What about let's get into your history with hobbies. Hobby history.
My hobby history is a lot of start, not a lot of follow through.
That's just hobbies, baby.
Yeah. When I was younger, and I don't know if this really counts as a hobby, but I really love to read.
I feel like that's a hobby.
So reading was like a pretty consistent thing throughout my life. And then teachers started telling me to read certain books, and I hated that, so that fell off.
Yep.
And I'm slowly getting back to it, but I feel like it takes so much for me to like actually finish a book now. Like, and it sucks because I used to be able to like tear through those motherfuckers so quick. I could read like 3 books a week. And now I'm like lucky if I finish 3 books in a year. Which I think is just adulthood.
Yeah, well, I also feel like reading is like a muscle, where it's like you got to build up to it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Reading. I think reading is the twilight of hobbies, where you really got to like. I don't know where this is going. Please continue. I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say I have no idea how to help you, and I apologize because I feel like we could have done a good goof there.
I'm drowning like Bella. That was 2 episodes ago. We need to move on. I'm so sorry. I'm derailing the podcast.
I feel like when I was younger, I really wanted to be like super artsy. So like doodling and drawing, painting here and there. Nothing super like wild. I always really wanted to get into like fiber crafts. Like my sisters and my mom can like crochet like nobody's business. Like they are potentially witches because they can just like sit there and then like 2 hours later there's just like a whole scarf, and that's fascinating to me. And I have tried to crochet, I have tried to knit. I do not understand it, but I'm fascinated by people who do. I think it's one of the coolest things that you can do. I've tried my hand at sewing. I never get very far. But yeah, I feel like that's probably like the history of it, is I try a lot of stuff. Haven't quite found what I enjoy so much. What kind of hobbies are you doing these days?
We've kind of talked about music. I feel like I haven't really done as much music as I had in the past. But I still kind of mess around with it. I've got some guitars and some keyboards.
Yeah.
I've been kind of into painting some,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's kind of what's uh taken up the hobby brain space at this point in time. Um, I've also kind of attempted to write, like, not necessarily novels, but like stories and stuff, but those
Mm-hmm.
never really pan out.
Yeah.
Um, but look forward to my cinematic universe that I'm gonna make,
Spoiler alert, it's
starring.
just it's just Spider-Man fan fiction.
Hey, you know what else is Spider-Man fan fiction? The real
Venom.
Spider-Man movies.
You're not
Think about
wrong.
it.
You're not wrong.
All comics nowadays are just fan fiction because the people that are writing them
Are
grew up reading them.
are not the OGs. You're
Yep.
correct. 100%.
Big brain. um, but yeah, I feel like painting is the thing that is kind of occupying my brain space. I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but I'm moderately fine at it.
I think
Um,
you're good at painting. I do, however, think that it's okay to have hobbies that you're not skilled at. Like, I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna be like amazing at painting, and I don't really think that I want to, because I mean I like a good. I'm like you at that museum. I like a good photorealistic painting that I can get really giggly at and think we're gonna get thrown out of the museum. But I don't know that I necessarily want to make photorealistic paintings.
It wasn't even a photorealistic painting, it was pop art. I want to say it was like some Andy Warhol wannabe.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
um,
But
yeah.
yeah, I would agree. I don't think you got to be like great at hobbies, because if you were, they wouldn't be hobbies. They'd be your job, because you'd be selling that shit for money.
Yeah, and I think that, like, especially right now,
In this economy.
well, no, I mean, the world is, like, inundated with crafter. Really, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's just, I feel like there was, like, this weird push of, like, things weren't worth pursuing if you couldn't make money off of it. And so I think people who, like, do hobbies just for the sake of doing hobbies, there's something just so inherently beautiful about that. Not saying that, like, commerce takes away from art, but I don't know.
I do feel
there's
like it's a
something
little more
good.
pure if you're just like, I just want to make this thing.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody else has to really like it, but I'm making this because I like it.
And honestly, and like, and sharing it with like your friends and stuff, because you showing me the picture you did of my cats, that made me so happy.
Which you can see on my Instagram
I have
at rnchmatt.
I've stalked your Instagram because looking at it makes me happy. And I'm excited because I do know that you're planning on gifting it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that, and it's gonna go in my house somewhere. And like, I love that. I love that. I'm working on a little project for you because one of the hobbies I've picked up recently is embroidery. Am I good at it yet? No. Will I be someday? I'll be better, but will I be great at it? Probably not, because it's something that I do of evenings when I am like, okay, I've had way too much screen time this week. I really need to rest my eyes, because one of my biggest hobbies lately has been not sleeping, apparently.
One of my favorite hobbies is insomnia.
And so like I'm trying to like adapt my lifestyle to like help promote positive, consistent, like good healthy sleeping patterns. And so like of an evening, like I put on music and I embroider for a bit. And it's just fun. Like, it's a fun thing to do. You own one painting that I did.
Yes, I do. It's over there. I thought it was in arm's reach, but I really like it. Like, this is I feel like this is gonna sound like a dig, but it's 100% like a positive to me. But it's like I feel like if you gave me 100 canvases in 100 years, I would never paint that, and that's what I love about it. It's just like this is it's. I feel like you've told me before that you don't like it, but I love it because I don't know. It just I can't verbalize it, but it's beautiful to me. It is beautiful.
And I'm so glad about that. And like, but the reality is if I didn't gift it to you, it would have like hidden in my closet, and I wouldn't have known where to put it.
Mm-hmm. I do need to get a frame for it so I can hang it up because it's the actual like frame has gotten like wonky, so like you can't hang it on the wall.
I love that.
But
yeah. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing too, is like I made that at my sister's bridal or bachelorette party. We went to like a paint by number thing, and they gave me a couple drinks, and I was sitting there, and we were supposed to paint like this tree thing, and everybody was painting this tree thing, and I was like, I don't want to do that, so I just stuck with the dots. That was the part I liked doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very abstract, and that's what I love about it, because I feel like a lot of the things I do are very like, this is the picture I'm looking at, and that's what I'm painting. But it's like, no, this is raw emotion on the canvas, and I love it. I'm here for it. But yeah, so let's dig a little deeper.
Uh-huh.
And how did you pick up embroidery as a hobby?
I have to say that like I've always been fascinated with like anything fiber crafts. Like 100%. I think that I honestly do think that it's like so fascinating. When I was like younger, I kind of like fell into like that patriarchal mindset of like, if it's not fine art, it's not worth doing. And that's like a really weird toxic thing. So like when people would like crochet or like do like fiber type crafts, I'd like kind of scoff at it. I'm like, ugh, I prefer art, not crafts. And then I grew up and realized that like the fashion industry fucking runs on anything fiber related. And like I was interested in fashion and like, so I had to like do a lot of soul searching, internalized, and like focus on like, okay, why are you internalizing this weird misogyny that really benefits absolutely no one? And like break down like what structures were set in place to determine the difference between art and crafts. And basically it was like patriarchy. So it's kind of like a miniature form of protest.
Love it.
And I also like it because it's something that like you can like start and stop a lot. Like you don't have to do everything all at once. And it's something that like you can like fill the canvas quickly.
Right. Because you've kind of showed me one that you're working on with some mountains. And it doesn't seem like it's like a huge like
it's a
I want to say
foot.
frame, but I don't know that frame is the right
diameter.
word. But yeah, it seems like something like a little manageable project to start with. But yeah.
Yeah, and the first thing that I ever sent you was like this little ghost that I probably did in like an hour. Is it great? No. Do I see like the technical issues with it? Hell yeah. It was also the first thing that I've embroidered since I was like a kid. It's like there's always like that learning curve, but it's something that like I've enjoyed doing. And I like that it's a fiber craft. I appreciate that. But it's something that like I can commit time to, but I don't necessarily have to commit time to if I don't like. It's not a project that expires. Like when you're painting and stuff, like sometimes you need to work only when the paint is wet. And so like if you let it dry out, you're like, okay, well it's kind of hard to get back into it without me having to like redo a whole layer basically.
Yeah.
But that's not the case because thread don't dry out, baby. Thread stays the same.
There's one constant in this world, and it is thread.
Ties us all together, breaks us all apart. What more can you say?
Can't live with it, can't live without it.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Looks like my
What's
cat got my... I was looking at my embroidery hoop and it's broke.
Oh. Well, that's sad.
Danny's been sleeping in it, so I just need to buy a new 12-inch embroidery that's like clean. I might be able to fix it. I don't know. That's one other thing, is cats like circles, apparently. And they like sleeping in them. So I'll have to mess with that later. But, no, it's just something that I picked up for fun and to, like, do that's not just rotting my brain with screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really nice. What about you? What got you into painting and music? Like, why did you pick those mediums?
Music. My dad plays guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, weirdly, as a child, I wasn't really into music unless it was classical music. Because I was that kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, around middle school, I got into the Beatles. And then I was like, only the Beatles and some classical. And then in high school, I was like, oh, there's other music that I like that I can listen to. But, like, one of my earliest memories is looking through my dad's record collection that he used to have. And, like, I can remember him playing Here Comes the Sun on guitar and being like, oh, how do you do that? And then I remember him, like, trying to teach me how to play guitar when I was little, but it hurt my fingers. So I'd be like, no, this hurts. I don't want to do it. And then eventually, like, freshman year of high school, I decided I wanted to play the bass because my dad played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that my parents bought me, like, a little cheapo bass that was just like baby's first bass. And with that bass, I don't know if he would like me outing him, but my dad and I briefly had a band that was called the Paul Gatto Experience. I don't think he ever, like, consented to be in it, but he was in it. And I don't remember when I got it, but I got, like, a little rudimentary recording thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we recorded our first song called Jimmy the Alpaca. It was a very jazzy instrumental. And yeah, I would just kind of record as, like, a way to pass the time.
Yeah. You play quite a few instruments now, though, don't you?
Some better than others. I don't know. My philosophy with instruments, which I have met very few people that share this philosophy, but my philosophy is, like, all instruments are the same. It's like playing the piano is no different than playing the guitar.
Okay.
To me. But I don't know. Other people don't seem to agree with that sentence. But yeah, I mean, if you know how to play one instrument, you know how to play them all.
Gotcha.
But that's my philosophy.
Interesting.
Welcome to my TED Talk. And then painting, I don't remember what I know that I've always wanted to paint, but it was very frustrating because when I was younger, I would draw, and when I would paint, I would try to paint like I would draw, and that never really worked for me. And I don't remember when this was. I think it was like middle of undergrad, but at one point I was just like, I'm gonna paint the shed in my parents' backyard, and then I figured out, like, what my style was, which was just like paint the background, then cover it up with the foreground, then cover that up with more foreground, and then, like, yeah. And then I painted some more. Then one time my parents' cat woke me up way earlier than I wanted to, so I did a spite painting of her. And it's hanging in my sister's house.
I love that.
But yeah, so I guess to summarize, music is because of my dad, and painting is, I don't know.
I think that's good. We talked about it a little bit, but like, appreciating people who don't monetize hobbies. Do you think that, like, when you add that level of monetization that it kind of, like, takes away from, like, the purity of it?
I think that when you monetize something, it changes the way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not necessarily thinking, like, what do I want to do? It's more like, what do I think is going to sell?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what is making me money. And I feel like that's a different mindset to be in, as opposed to just like, I want to do this for fun. What would I like to see or listen to?
Thick lady mods.
Thick lady mods. That's a good one. I like that one.
That's a concept I'm working on. I'm still working out. I honestly, part of me is like, just restart the thing because the legs got away from me.
If YouTube channel Drawfee has taught me anything, it is delete your art. But yeah, how do you feel like monetization affects hobbies?
I don't want to take away from people who make money off of the things that they do. Because like it is a way to earn a living, but I also think that neither of us had mentioned like the other hobby, which is kind of the elephant in the room, and what we're doing currently, which is a podcast.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think that it's almost, I don't know that it necessarily takes away, but I do agree with you that it adds just like another layer of like
your mindset,
like how you think about the hobby, and I think that it can kind of take away some of that joy. But yeah, the people who do sell their art and their crafts, like, pay them what they're worth, because it's not cheap to have a hobby.
And there are definitely people that I've seen that, I mean, I don't feel like it's a lot of people, but there are people that like are able to monetize, but also like keep what they do purely them.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little harder to make a living off of than, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I don't see anything wrong with it, but I don't see myself ever monetizing anything that I personally do.
Yeah, same. Same.
I
mean, for me, not for you. Just be like, yeah, your stuff is not worth
your
money.
Shit. Nobody should pay for that shit. I don't know why the fuck
That's not
you
what
still
I meant.
do it.
I meant for me. One thing that I've been curious about is so like for your embroidery, like how do you feel like how do I want to say this? What do you feel like the end game is for it? Like, what are you like? You've finished a piece. What do you do with it?
I'm hoping to get comfortable and better enough at it to where like I want to hang the stuff that I do, and essentially just have it be like gifts. I've seen some like really cute, super tiny embroidery hoops that are like different shapes, and I've seen people turn them into like Christmas tree ornaments. And so I think that one Christmas, probably not this one coming up, but one Christmas in the future, that will be at least a part of gifts that I give people.
That'd be cool.
Mostly, I think the end game is mostly just like, I like the process of designing, and like I do digital art sometimes too, but again, it's not something that I'm like.
Graphic design is your passion.
Graphic design is my passion. But I honestly, like, I wouldn't even call that a hobby. I think that mostly when I do that, it's just like because I feel the need for a creative outlet and I need to get something out, and it's something that like I can do quickly, and it is really easy to delete your art fully when it's digital.
When it's in Photoshop.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you can, like, erasing it actually gets rid of the line and there's nothing left over from it. When you're like traditionally drawing, like you can kind of always see the lines that were there before, which I think is something kind of beautiful about traditional drawing mediums.
I don't know. That whenever I used to draw, that was the most frustrating part. Was like, because I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but for our school paper, I used to do the comics, and we had Photoshop, and I don't know why I didn't try to draw the comics in Photoshop. But what I would do is like I would go into Paint and just like map out squares and then print that off and then draw on that and then scan it back in. And it was always frustrating when you would get to like the fourth panel, feel really good about the first three, and whiff something hard to where it's like you could still see what was happening, and it's like, oh fuck. This is all ruined. But yeah, I feel digital art seems like it facilitates more trial and error than like traditional mediums.
Well, that and like I mean, like you can redo a line so quick, and like I really like it as a medium. I think that it's really interesting, and it's unfortunate because I feel like digital art, outside of like photography, does not get a lot of credit, especially in the fine art world, and it's changing a little bit with the introduction of like NFTs, but barely. And I have like personal issues with NFTs that are probably a different episode, maybe.
Okay. Real quick, do we want to announce our webcomic that we're for sure doing, called Jort's Wolf?
No.
It's a goof. We're not really doing it. Listen to the New Moon episode.
I was gonna say, I'm drunk on New Moon. You can't make me. Oh, man. For a second, I was like, oh shit, what project did I agree to do?
Jort's Wolf. You're gonna draw it and I'm gonna write it. It's about a werewolf who, whenever he wears jorts, or whenever they wear jorts, we haven't decided, but whenever they wear jorts, they turn into a wolf.
From the waist up, their legs are just
from the waist
great.
up,
and look awesome in shorts the whole time. It's gonna be.
So look forward to that.
Bigger than Laura Olympus.
It's gonna come out summer 2022.
Summer 2037.
25.
Summer 2154.
Summer 2112.
Yeah. I think it's fun to create things with friends though. Like I think that's such a good way to handle stuff.
Yeah, because a lot of in the past, I feel like most of my hobbies have been like me by myself, and they haven't really been collaborative. And I kind of feel like that's why I've fallen off of music, is just like I've done everything that me as Matthew is capable of creating on my own. And it's like you need that other person there to like, oh, I didn't think of that, and then the ball starts rolling. And unfortunately, and you got a podcast.
I can't sing or play an instrument, and that's another thing that I wish that I was able to, like, I do not have the mind for music, and I'm sure, like, if I buckled down, I could figure it out. But I have an issue sometimes where if I'm not good at something quickly, then it just needs to go away.
Same. If I can't do something on the first try, I get real frustrated and quit.
Which is something I need to work on, probably. But I'm not gonna today. You can't make me. I have embroidery to do.
Always tomorrow. Tomorrow for sure.
Tomorrow for real this time. So I don't know if you feel equipped to answer this, but if somebody wanted to get into embroidery, say I came to you and said, hey Ryan, this embroidery you're doing, I'm really digging. I would like to try it for myself. How would you recommend somebody
starts out?
So what I did is I found, and please forgive me because I did use Amazon.
Oh,
I
it's okay.
know, but it's one of those, like, it was, like, super cost effective, and I was like, it's easier for me to purchase a kit, and I think the kit, all in all, was, like, maybe $25 for, like, all the embroidery that you needed, like, all the thread, like, it's, like, a nice little case that's already organized, because that's something that I struggle with because of, like, my ADHD, is, I have a really hard time with, like, organizing things, like, so, like, having something that was, like, pre-organized, the thread was already all labeled, and I learned, because when I text you that when I was like, I'm out of this color and I don't know what to do, I learned that in embroidery thread, like, the colors are consistent, like, there might be, like, a bit of a shade difference from brand to brand.
But on the whole, they're...
But it's all gonna be...
equivalent enough.
Mm-hmm. Which is good, and not something that I knew before, and I'm glad that I learned. But I bought a kit that, like, had it, like, already, like, wrapped up and ready to go, and so I could just, like, pick thread and start doing something. And so yeah, I mean, support local shops if you have, like, local hobby stores. But just if price is the reason that you're not wanting to start something, then, like, it's okay to go those, like, big box store routes where you can get stuff for cheaper. Or if you're not sure that you want to do something but you want to try your hand at it, because worst comes to worst, I have a pretty efficient sewing kit, and, like, I know how to patch stuff up, so, like, if I, like, rip something, I'm like, oh, I can fix that.
Right. Yeah.
And then I found, like, a big it's like a drop cloth. It's like a canvas drop cloth for curtains that people use as curtains, and it was on sale for $9, and it's like 6 foot by 9 foot.
Oh.
So that's a lot of, like, it's going to take me a long time to get through that bad boy. So yeah, I would just purchase it and then just Google. Like, I started seeing embroidery stuff on TikTok, and I was like, that looks interesting. And then it would be like, this is how you do this kind of stitch. And so, like, after I got that, I would, like, open those things up again that I had seen before I'd gotten, like, into it. And then I would just try stitches. It's a lot of fun. And then I learned that, like, I really like the look of, like, super thin thread because of trial and error.
Yeah.
And so it's just learning what you like and doing, but it's not, fortunately, it's not a very expensive hobby to start, because I also would like to start rug making, but that is not a cheap startup.
Yeah, that one seems a little more or a little less cost effective. Do you use like patterns or anything, or do you just basically freehand everything?
So far I've only freehanded. I have been looking into, there's like an embroidery, it's like paper, but I'd have to get a printer because I'm, under 30. I don't own one.
Quit attacking me on my own show.
You own a printer?
No, I don't.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Quit attacking me.
But it's something that essentially, like, I could go into, like, InDesign or Photoshop and, like, design out a piece and then print it on this, like, essentially dissolvable paper and get, like, the line work down. So I think that's going to be my next step.
Stitch off of that.
Yeah. But currently it's either just, like, I just eye it and, like, just kind of go through it, or I just took a pencil to the thick moth lady and just kind of like sketched it out a bit. It just depends. If I had stronger embroidery hoops that don't break from one cat taking a nap on it, then I could probably do a little bit more in the sketching arena. But what about you? How do people get into painting, Matthew?
you go to Michael's and you buy the cheapest paint they have and the cheapest canvas they have, and then you go watch some Bob Ross videos, and you're just like, okay, that seems easy enough. And then you do it, and you're like, oh no. But then after you hit that initial oh no, take a deep breath, paint over it, because delete your art, and then eventually you'll have a painting of a cat. Is that the best tutorial? No. But I feel like painting's one of those things where you gotta do it, figure out what your style is.
Yeah.
Because I took a class in my senior year of college because I needed an elective. But it was the way my professor taught was not the way I was used to painting. So that was, I mean, it was probably the more traditional way to paint, but it didn't fit my brain. Because I'm used to just like painting a full scene for the background and then painting a full scene for the foreground and like layering like that. But I mean, you just gotta buy some paints and go for it.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with your paint.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to make that rhyme, but I couldn't.
I do think that there's a lot of resources online, like YouTube and stuff, for like tutorials on how to do stuff. Like I'll Google how to do a certain stitch, or when I saw how much thread it took up for me to do like that one smaller mountain, and then saw that I had a bigger mountain with like more space to fill and the same amount of thread in the single color. I just Googled, I'm like, what are the best stitches to like fill a broad space? And then I started doing it. When it goes to like, and like follow creators who like do art, and like typically they'll post stuff in their style. I'm not saying like copy artists and do what they do, but
I mean, you can copy technique, but not necessarily like style.
Yeah. Like I said, like I found a lot of people online who are like, this is how you do this one stitch. This is how you do this other stitch. As someone who is new to a hobby, I would, unless like you have access to a creator who has like said, like, if you have questions, ask them, and I would like to teach you, I would be careful about asking. Because typically the artists that I see, like, they're either promoting work that they are selling or that they, make for whatever their reason is. And I think that a lot of new hobbyists, when they get into something, they're like, I just started this and I mess it up, so you need to teach me how to fix it. And I don't think that's fair on the work of an artist. Just because they show you how to do a technique does not mean that they need to show you how to fix everything that you did wrong. Because that's something that I see a lot now in, like, social media spaces, of where it's like, I tried this and it didn't work, you need to troubleshoot for me. And I'm like, that's not how this works. Like, this is a person who has probably taken years and has messed up doing the same thing that they are comfortable enough to be like, this is how you do the stitch. In
the words of Bob Ross, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents.
Only happy accidents. And every mistake is an opportunity for learning. And I think that's something I really like about hobbies, is like, it makes you be patient for a little bit. And if you do mess up, and it's something that I've had to like work on, because I used to just give up if I messed up. Like, that was my MO. I was like, I didn't do it right. Okay, it's not worth doing. Goodbye. But like the thick moth lady, like, I've started over on that thing several times, and I'm still trying at it. And it is getting better, but it's not quite what I want. So I'm gonna keep at it. And this is the first time in my adult life that I've done that. Because normally I'd be like, well, I'm just never gonna try a moth lady again.
Yeah. Well, then that's also like a lesson in like that I've had to learn in painting sometimes, where it's just like, you can spend your whole life trying to perfect something, but at a certain point you just gotta say, you know what, this looks good. It's not necessarily what I wanted to do, but it's passable, and I can show it to the world.
Yeah. good episode. I feel like this was a very wholesome moment.
Yeah.
What are your...
Except for the beginning where we talked about drinking a lot.
That's how we get them in.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts on hobbies as a whole, Matthew?
I think people should have hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're good. I think they're a good outlet for energy.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're not good at something on the first try, that doesn't mean it can't be something that you are good at in the future. Just if you get the urge to try something, just get some cheap supplies and try it. And
yeah.
You never know. What about you?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think if more people had hobbies I don't think that anything could go wrong if more people had like hobbies that keep them occupied. And the best thing about hobbies is until you do something something that you consider successfully, you don't have to tell people about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep it a secret. If you find out you don't like it, toss it. No one's gonna know. And if they do, screw them.
Yeah. And if they know they weren't your friends to begin with.
But no, I think hobbies are good. I think they're fun. Keep them up.
Yeah.
What kind of hobbies do you, the audience, have?
Yeah, let us know on social media. At RMCH Matt, nope, that's mine. At Rhetorical Magic. Don't direct message me, direct message the show.
No, do direct message Matt. It will be funnier that way.
But yeah, if there's something that you've done that you're proud of, tag us.
Or if there's something you've done that you're not proud of, also tag us. I would like to see that too.
Roast yourself.
Be good to yourself, pick up a new hobby, and as we say at the end of every episode, clink, clink.
Ryan, did you know that Venom is gonna be in the Spider-Man No Way Home?
Like Tom Hardy Venom?
Yeah, the post-credit scene teases it. But we're not talking about the Spider-Verse.
Wait, but I do want to come back to the Spider-Verse. Okay,
Sorry,
that makes me really think that Tom Holland and what's-his-face are going to be in it. I was also a little bit hoping that it would have been the Topher Grace
Venom. Maybe, what? Okay.
Potentially. But no, that guy died,
What if Tom Hardy villain... Well, I mean, all the villains died, but they're coming back anyway.
Doc Ock didn't die, he got arrested, didn't he?
No, he drowns.
What?
He saves Mary Jane and Peter by breaking the machine, and he falls in the water and drowns. But what if Tom Hardy Venom kills Topher Grace Venom because he's like, this isn't good?
I'm here for it. I'm ready.
But we're talking about hobbies.
We are talking about hobbies.